Hello, my name is Anson Asaka. I'm the founder of New Possibilities. And today I'm going to talk about the whole controversy involving Jay-Z and Barneys. For those of you who are not familiar with the whole controversy, I'm going to just do a brief summary of what the big fuss is all about and then engage in further discussion. Barneys is a high-end upscale department store. They sell a lot of high-end expensive items. And they've been in the news lately because of two incidents involving African American customers. Two African Americans on separate occasions went to Barney's to purchase items from the store. And after they purchased items using their debit cards or credit cards, when they left the store, they were stopped by the police, detained by the police, and harassed by the police. They were accused of using fraudulent cards or fake cards to purchase items. And it turns out that these two individuals are completely innocent of the charges. It turns out that these two individuals saved their hard earned money to purchase items from this expensive store. And basically, you had two African American people who were racially profiled, presumed to be criminals just by the virtue of the color of their skin. They were assumed to be up to no good, assumed to be thieves, assumed to be scammers and criminals based solely on the color of their skin. They were harassed by the police and eventually they were released by the police. And this whole situation is completely outrageous. And I wrote about this on my blog, and I'll provide a link to my article about this whole issue. And that article just goes into further detail about my position. This is America. We have the right to purchase whatever we can afford to purchase. Nobody should assume that anyone is a criminal based solely on the color of their skin. Someone should be able to go to a store and purchase an item without being harassed and stopped by the police. And this whole incident happened in New York City, a city that's infamous for its stop and frisk program, where they stop innocent African Americans on the street constantly, searching them, humiliating them, and degrading them. And this is just a modern, recent example of how department stores are actually working with the police to harass black customers. And this whole situation is outrageous. This is the 21st century. We have an African American president. We have fought long and hard for our civil rights. We fought so that we could eat wherever we want to eat, so that we could eat at the lunch counters without being discriminated against, so that we could go places without seeing the no colored signs and the colored section signs and the whites only signs. Those signs were taken down as a result of our struggle. And it makes no sense for us to continue to live in a situation where African Americans are denied the right to purchase what they have the money to purchase, what we have the money to purchase. Now, as a result of all this controversy surrounding Barney's, people have been asking Jay-Z to sever his ties with Barney's. There's been a whole online campaign to encourage Jay-Z to cut his ties to Barney's. And I support that campaign. And in my blog article, I provide a link to a petition calling on Jay-Z to cut his ties with Barney's. Now, after all this controversy has erupted, uh, and under great pressure from the public, eventually Jay-Z released a statement. And before I get into everything, I just want to start by saying that I truly do respect Jay-Z as an artist. He's one of the greatest rap artist of all time. And as far as his lyrical skills are concerned, just in general, he's one of the greatest MCs, and he's an icon, an American icon. He personifies what we strive for as Americans, like just the idea of the American dream, somebody making it from nothing to something, from rags to riches. Someone who's not only a great artist, but also a great businessman. So all of those traits are admirable. But I have to say, I do not admire his statements regarding this whole Barney situation. Instead of taking a stand and severing his ties with Barney's, essentially what Jay-Z did was issue a defensive statement. And I'll provide a link to his statement in the um, description to this video. But essentially, he spent a great amount of his 3 paragraph statement basically defending himself from charges, from, allegations. So his statement was very defensive, and it was really self-serving. It served to prop up his reputation and to defend his reputation. Instead of focusing on the core issue, it was primarily centered around defending his name and defending, his reputation. But the fact of the matter is, by issuing this statement, he is not defending his name. He's basically continuing to further tarnish his brand by continuing to associate with Barney's. In his statement, he talked about how he's not making any money off of the deal. He talked about how a lot of poor people will benefit from his partnership with Barney's. He talked about acting based on the facts instead of emotions, and waiting to a further investigation is done, waiting to see what happens as a result of a community meeting with Barney's. And he talked about all those kind of things. And all of that stuff seems like basically damage control. It seems like a way of avoiding the issue. And it seems like a way of perpetuating this concept of the non-threatening black man. When it seems like a lot of successful black men, no matter how much money and power they have the need to appease the larger public or the white mainstream. They have to come off non-threatening. They have to come off essentially as if they're non-black at a certain point. They can't be the angry black man and still maintain the same level of success that they have. Political issues are pushed to the back burner with these types of people in their quest to seek approval from the mainstream audience, from white people in general. They have to tone down their rhetoric. They have to act in a way that's palatable to the mainstream. And that's essentially what Jay-Z has done. And it's a disgrace because without the fans' support, Jay-Z would not be the American success story that we admire. Without the core support of the hood, he would not be who he is today. And it's a shame, for someone that, wrote a rap song about being stopped and harassed by the police, as some other blogger pointed out in her piece. I can't remember her name, but I'll probably provide a link to her article. For him to put out a song where he talks about being stopped and harassed by the police, but on the same, at the same time, he essentially tolerates this incident of racial profiling. Now, he talked about how we don't have all the facts and he needs time to investigate. Well, this is not rocket science, people. I mean, the facts are clear and obvious and not in dispute. The fact of the matter is 2 African Americans used their own credit cards or debit cards. They purchased items legitimately. And after they purchased those items, they were presumed to be criminals because they purchased these items. And they were harassed and stopped by the police. And they went through the humiliation of being racially profiled. Now, these are obvious and clear facts. They've been widely reported on in all the major media. So, what kind of investigation is Jay-Z talking about? To me, that just seems like an excuse to put off addressing the issue. And eventually, I hope that Jay-Z does address the issue. I hope that he does sever his ties with Barneys. And so that's important. And I think that because of his name and his brand, if he were to sever ties with Barneys, that would have a huge impact. It will affect how they conduct their business in the future. They will have to take notice of that fact. And they will have to, change their conduct if someone of his status were to take some kind of action. It would have probably more effect than, you know, somebody like Reverend Al Sharpton holding a demonstration or something like that. That would have a huge impact. Because a lot of these young people, they look up to people like Jay-Z. They admire Jay-Z. They admire, rap artists. And in fact, that's why some of these kids are spending this kind of money um, at stores like Barney so that they can emulate and act like the rap artists that they admire. And in fact, one guy that purchased a belt for $350, he was trying to emulate a rap artist, Jules Santana, when he bought the belt. So it's just important. Jay-Z could have a huge impact. But I want to make one point clear in this video, and that point is that the primary focus is on Barneys, and Jay-Z is a means to an end to address the major issue. And we must continue to pressure him to sever his ties with Barneys because he has a responsibility to the community. Um, he owes it to the people that helped make him rich and famous. He owes it to the fans. Uh, he owes it to the hood. He came from the hood. He knows about the struggles of the hood. And even as a millionaire or billionaire, he still, I'm sure, deals with issues of racial profiling, even at his status. So it's just important that, that he take action. And it's important for us to continue to apply the pressure, most importantly on Barneys and secondarily on Jay-Z. Now, a lot of people have raised the whole issue of the cost of the items that these two African Americans purchased. Um, for me, that's a side issue. It's not relevant how much the belt cost. It's, in fact, it's silly to engage in an extended debate about why somebody would buy such an expensive item. The fact of the matter is, we have a right in this country to purchase whatever we want to purchase, whatever we have the money to purchase. And no one should prevent us from exercising that right.